Welcome back, everybody. We are at the shop, and I said we got to get a video of updates and a chipper. People are wanting to know. So as you can tell, there's a bunch of stuff going in the middle, and those are getting worked on, and you can see all the holes in there because all the feed wheels are ripped out. So the feed wheels are getting rebuilt inside, and we have both of our flail drums ripped off and our front yoke ripped out. So that's kind of what she looks like in there. You can kind of, and then you got your chipper disc up there, and that's pretty much the same idea as our 2755. There's just a smaller hole right there. It's 23 instead of 27 inches, but the majority of the stuff getting to that point is about the same. So that's kind of what's going on. This is inside. We'll check that out in a minute. Minute to win it, but kind of what we're looking at is one thing that I haven't discussed with anybody yet is this is ripped out of there, and you can tell you got your cracks along there that we need to fix, and I am going to shut them holes all up. So how that works is in the winter you get stuff constantly fall down in there, and then what happens is this down here literally gets all built up, the whole thing all around this axle. What happens is in the winter it freezes up around your S-cams down there, and it doesn't allow your brakes to release. So you'll actually pull this out, and this will be locked up, and you have to get in there. Every time you move it, you have to get in here, and you have to clean off above that axle. And then if you don't, it'll get stuck in there, and then your brakes start smoking, and I've seen them catch on fire. We've had to put them out on the side of the road before when we first got the chippers, just because we were learning. So I'm sure there's reasons of why they did it. This feed wheel freezes up in the winter anyways. It's constantly, every morning you get in it, it's froze up, and you have to put trees in there and hit that feed wheel just right to break this thing loose, because it gets froze up, because when you're running it, everything gets warm on this machine throughout the day, and you still have snow in there, and then you go home for the day and stuff freezes up in here, and you got to break it loose, like I said, every day. So if that's the reason why all the holes are in there, then it's kind of useless because it freezes up anyways. The only problem is now, if we can get that shut up, trust me, I'll make a video here in the next couple videos I make, Monday or Tuesday or something. We'll jump underneath that one out in the woods, and I'll show you exactly what we're working with. That way I'll give you a better idea of the problem that we're having, the problem that occurs. Because if you could look under the chipper in the woods and see that, it would make you really happy, because it's not pretty when it's covered and stuff. So that's one thing that needs to get fixed. Again, right now, the main idea is the feed wheels. Obviously, we're going to start going through it, and all these hoses will get replaced. She was getting power washed today. The cat walks off from it. The yokes are pulled out. Every feed wheel's pulled out. So that's kind of what we're working with now. You can see this is flipped out a little more. Just looking things over. But our main concern was the feed wheels are going to take a long time. And I see they got this beefed up over here. This makes me giggle, like it's been bent out. And how that happens is this is what happens. Is if you leave that door open like that and you lift this up, it'll bend this out. So it's obviously that's happened. And then they've braced it, and they beat it, they pushed it back and braced it. But that's what happens is if you lift this up with that door open, you get into a pickle. But so yeah, we'll check out the feed wheels in a minute. That drum there, that fill drum's looking good. The augers look good. I was looking at those. Them look good inside. That's a good thing. But yeah, that's kind of situation we're in. The feed wheels take so long to fix, And so that was kind of, they all needed to be redone. And so we actually ripped them all out, and that's what we're working on now. Kind of numero uno project, because we need to get that done, and that's going to take a long time. So these are different than the ones in the new chipper. These are the older design yokes, and they are over there on the ground. I see that conglomeration there. Maybe we'll discuss that as a team, of removing that, because that's there's differing opinions on it, and I have mine, but it's useless in my opinion. So yeah, anywho, you can tell that's been ripped out of there, but they're just getting her cleaned up. And I've seen in here, and I want to change this in here. I have some thoughts on that. You get sawdust in here, obviously, because your spout's right here. You get a lot of sawdust in here, and then what you have is you have turbos right there, and you can have what I've heard called turbo flakes, where just a flake of rust will fall off that, and it'll make its way down into here somehow. There's a lot of wind going on, and then you have to try to put out a fire that you don't know where it's at. And I come up with an idea looking at this here a few minutes ago, and I'll talk to the guys about that here in the next week or two, to get something in there so we can keep the sawdust out of there, because it's no fun to blow sawdust out of there. I just did that with the new one with Josh. So fix that. Over here, there's not a whole lot of action. It is what it is. So yeah, there's nothing really to explain there. Over here we have the flail drums. Well, these are a different setup than our new chipper, because the cylinders are at the center and they hook to this. And on the other chipper, they're on the sides. So where are they at? They're over here, and they pull up and down. They're at an angle like this, welded here and welded to the frame, and they pick up and down on it over here, where this has the overhead and it does one cylinder instead of dual. And yeah, so I mean, you can tell how big they are with the Ford in the background. They're rather large. They look bigger outside the chipper sitting next to a pickup than they do inside the chipper, because you forget how big the chipper is. But that's the reason why they put them on the sides. They're welded like right here, and they have a cylinder that goes down to the frame, is because it actually gets more pulling power, down pressure, with an angled cylinder and one on each side. And I know that because the engineer was discussing that one day on ours. So it's nothing that I come up with. I'm not that smart, but he had the percentages of more pressure it could do. So the reason that these are both pulled out is because there's a feed wheel that goes, you can see the 4 bolts for the bearing, and there's a feed wheel that's supposed to go in here and in here. And the easiest way to do it is just to rip it right out. So get them out, and then if you do need to work on anything on these, they're easier to work on like this than they are up on the chipper. But yeah, so if you have to work on a motor, they're readily accessible. So yeah, that's kind of that. That's the back cover under the cab, and then those are your covers for your yokes. And the catwalks are just janked, all kinds of janked. I mean, that poor girl, she's been used and abused. So that's where your chain goes down to hook onto your feed wheel, and all that stuff can get looked at while it's off the machine. It's just easier, and we can check out the flail drums and so on and so forth, because there's like hose issues that need to be fixed, and just a bunch of little stuff, and fun. But I'll show you the feed wheels and what kind of project those are. So inside, this is the yoke that goes right under the cab, and that has a feed wheel in it too. So that got ripped out, and you kind of once it's ripped apart, you can kind of look over the bearings and the sprockets and everything that it takes. And I actually like this design is better than the new one as far as the hose routing is concerned. They got 3/4 on this one, and it's 1 inch on our new one. But this hose here would loop like this. It wouldn't go all the way around and hook back together. And the problem with the new one, when it runs right here, is it's hard to keep this fitting tight, because this jam nut here is hard to keep tight when it's looped through here, because it's the 1 inch line. It doesn't flex well, so when it's new, it doesn't want to listen. You know what I mean? So that's been an issue with that new one all the time, is these like to loosen up. Trying to tighten them up in the machine is not easy. You can get wrenches in there. But that's one thing I noticed this one is it's a lot. I like that design, how they loop the hoses around. It's way nicer. So the feed wheels, yeah. This one's been torched off. And what happens is they have to go through and have to weld back where they got too close to torching, or there was holes in it from welding, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? So they have to literally go through, torch everything off, grind everything down, weld it back up, go back through, grind it all down, and then weld new teeth on it. And it just takes a lot of time. So this is one that's already been cut down. And the problem I don't have. So here's the issue with these, is what people love to do is they love to, when the teeth get wore out, just weld another set in between them. And boy, that's a pet peeve of mine. I hate that. So I really hate that. It makes me mad. It makes me mad. I'm not going to lie. But so this one they've already done again, and they've re-welded. And this has to get ground down again, and then they have to weld teeth on that. So it just takes a lot of time. And here's the other ones that have to get done. I mean, the process is going to take a while. So you can tell that one, they did that. They welded another one in between. And those are all wore out already. So this is the straight bar stuff. That stuff isn't as big of a deal, but it's not the end of the world. But that's wearing down pretty good too. But that one there is the janked up one. I'm not sure. Not sure what happened there, but that's those are all backwards. Like the wood's going this way, and the teeth are bent towards us. So that one there got really jacked up, and you can tell like they welded. Those are the original ones, and they welded new ones, and then they didn't over here. So those have to all be redone, and that needs redone. It just takes time. Like I said, they start pulling them off. It's been a week. And there's one more that's at another shop getting worked on. So, yeah. That's where we're at. Feed wheels. Lots of torching, lots of grinding. That's why there's all them masks over there. Because that's what it takes. It's a lot of this action here. Wires and the big grinder down there. Fun. But yeah, I hate when people weld more and more teeth on them, and then it looks like that. Where the teacher, they're hinged the wrong way. It's, you know what it's really hard to do with situations like that, and when they weld more on in between, it's really hard to keep rolling.